Hello, Namaste, S.S.Chandhok. Good evening. Welcome to the S.S.Chandhok Talk Show. I'm your host and moderator, S.S.Chandhok. Today, on a lovely evening, we have gathered here you with the wonderful people who have a lot of experience in education field, and they're doing wonderful in the education industry. Without taking any time, I introduce you to the very first guest. And let me tell you about today's topic. Today's topic is a very new and a very important topic: liberal education. We need to understand what is liberal education, put it forward to our students, and they should understand what are the scope and what are the future they have when they are opting for liberal education. So without taking any time, I will introduce you to the very first eminent guest present over here today. First of all, we have Charumani ma'am. She is the principal of a very prestigious institution in Gurugram, that is DAV Public School. Welcome, Charu ma'am. First of all, thank you so much for joining us today. It's always a pleasure having you here, and you have come at least after 1 year into the show. Ma'am, welcome, ma'am. Ma'am, although we know about you, but still we will like to know a little about you and about your school, ma'am.
A very good evening to everyone, and thank you, Sarapreet sir, for this platform which brings all of us together. Yes, I am Charu Maini, principal at DAV Public School, and DAV, as the name suggests, it has global vision with Vedic roots, and I think it is liberal in that sense, because 138, 140 years ago, when this organization was, the seeds were sown, that time also they said that we have to be rooted to our Vedic values, and also we have to be liberal growing out. So looking global and acting local, that is what is it, and that's what my school also aims for. And liberal, whether we say it in those terms that we are liberal or not, but yes, at heart we are liberal, going forward with transversal education. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and welcome once again. Next, we have Shikha Banerjee, ma'am. She is also a principal of a very prestigious institution, which is all over the country now. That is St. Anandram Jaipuriya. Ma'am is the principal and a senior principal of Kanpur branch. Because I am also from Kanpur, I know very well that what the name of the school ma'am has brought out from so many years experience over here in Kanpur with the school. As you know, Jaipuriya has their two more main core schools that are in Kanpur as well as Ghaziabad, Vasundhara you have. So ma'am had been an active member of the school, and so many years she has spent it. And Jaipuriya is a school where you do not get admissions. Admissions are closed before starting. This type of situations we have in our Kanpur. And this name has been brought up by the leaders also, and Shikha ma'am also, the owners also. Thank you, ma'am, Shikha ma'am, once for joining us show. Ma'am, please let us know about you and about your school, ma'am. Ma'am, you're on mute.
Thank you, Chandhok-ji. A very good evening to my fellow panelists on the screen and to all the viewers as well. Yes, it makes me feel very proud to be associated with a school like St. Anandram Jaipuriya. I feel honored not because it is a school like Mr. Chandhok said that where admissions are very sought after, etc. I marvel at the fact that my management is extremely progressive, and it is not about the traditional transaction of education that we believe in. The school promotes learning beyond the classrooms, skill development, the trainings of teachers, bringing them at par with the requirements of the NEP, and giving a lot of exposure to the upcoming career areas, study areas, and the areas that are the future of this country and the globe in general. My school, or rather my group, has visions for health curriculum, socio-emotional learning, numeracy activities, literacy activities, and all the things that bring out the skill and the ability of the children, not from just the books, but beyond the books, their abilities, their attributes, and we are constantly working for it. Thank you,
That's
sir.
that's wonderful, ma'am. And of course, the management is very good because I also had been principal of one of the founder principal of one of the branch of Sri Anand Ramjapuria before this school, and I had been meeting Shishu Japuria sir and all Malhotra sir and all over there in Ghaziabad. So I know how wonderful these people and what vision they have. Thank you so much and welcome, Shikha ma'am. The next eminent guest present over here is Dr. Bhavna Chibbar ma'am. She is the principal of another prestigious institution in Lebanon Public School in Gurgaon. Bhavna ma'am, I would like to know from you, welcome, first of all, welcome to you. So, I mean, are you working 24 into 7? So many things you are doing, you're found everywhere. I am in the COA group also, you are also there also. I am seeing you in the school also on social media. I am finding you everywhere. I mean, are you working 24 into 7, 365 days? I mean, how do you manage these things? How do you do? Please, ma'am.
Jai Hind, everyone. First of all, see, I have learned very well that every day is unique. And every day you are blessed with 24 new hours. And you have to achieve as maximum as you can. I am now IIM Calcutta alumni. I've just completed my diploma. I was in for 6 days. I was in Calcutta. So I know and I firmly believe, and I believe in roti. For me, the roti is return on time invested. If I'm with you just because of that topic. The moment you texted me last night, and I thought this is a topic wherein this area is still, I need to know more. So I accepted that. So this is how I invest my time. I never spend, I never waste. I always invest my time. So this is the answer of your question. Secondly, for my school, I build a vision for my school. I build a 5S vision for my school. That is Sakshar, which we have to, Saksham, Samarth, then we say Sanskar. Sanskar is very important. That is the key value system which we have to give them to the learners. Then Shodhak. So we have so many activities which build these 5 skills. So there is a 360-degree development of my learner, and we are trying our level best. Being in a small vicinity, my school is not in proper Gurugram. We are in the outer skirts of the Gurgaon. It's in the village. So I'm trying to, this is my an effort to bring that awareness in that vicinity and to take them to the level. And this is my job which I'm pursuing. For me, I will quote myself as an agile lifelong learner who has every time a yearn to learn. And I'm a trainer too, associated with CBSE, NCERT, and so on. And I keep on doing so many things all together. People call me a computer because I'm a multitasker. So being a computer science teacher for the last 25 years, I myself become a computer. 1, 2, 3, 4. All the things at the same time. So this is how I'm managing. And thank you so much, sir, for calling me here.
Pleasure is mine, ma'am. Thank you so much once again for joining the show. Next, by the time the 2 ladies join, so we'll come up to the introduction of the expert of today, who has given us time to understand what actually, as Bhavna ma'am also told, that we need to understand what actually liberal education is. So today we have a very special guest, Dr. Om Prakash Dwivedi, sir. He is the HOD of School of Liberal Arts from Bennett University. First, thank you so much, sir, and welcome first of all. You have spared your time off your busy schedule and come to us on our request to just guide us on liberal education, sir. And And sir, we will also like to know about you, sir, because we do not know about you. You look so young. So we need to know your educational journey. When you started and reached over here as an HOD in Bennett.
Yeah, first of all, my namaste to you, Chandok ji, and other esteemed fellow panelists here who have joined for a very important topic, the topic of liberal education, or for that matter, liberal studies or liberal arts. I will not go into the etymological framework, but I will come to it later. Talking about, before I talk about myself, let me just give you a brief introduction of Bennett University. So Bennett University is an academic venture of Times of India Group, which has a history of more than 180 years. So we started in the year 2016, and over the period of this 6 years, we have grown rapidly, both in terms of quality and quantity. So in terms of quantity, we have now more than 6,000 students on campus. And when we talk of quality, we have, in this span of 6 years, we have got research projects of more than 15 crore rupees, which have been granted by the various government agencies. We have distributed more than 20 crore rupees to our students in the form of startups to do their own, to convert their own ideas into some kind of operational business. And our student to teacher ratio has been exceptional. So that's a little background and insight into Bennett University. Talking about myself, my research interest, it cut across the field of Indian writing in English, post-colonial theory and literature, and environmental humanities. Before coming to Bennett University, I had already established one school of liberal arts at Oro University, where I had the privilege of working under the direct mentorship of Professor Avdesh Kumar Singh, who happens to be the advisor of present Prime Minister of India. So I moved to Bennett while the pandemic was going on. And here we are doing liberal arts education and doing it quite successfully. And we hope to introduce new frameworks, new ideas over the coming years. So, that's it. And let me know how to proceed, and I will talk about whatever idea I have.
Sure.
I will be happy to share my ideas about liberal arts education.
Right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And welcome once again, sir. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. So now we can come up to the discussion round or the question round. We'll come up to Charu ma'am first. Charu ma'am, we would like to know, according to you, whatever research you have made, what is liberal education and how it is different from vocational or technical education?
Thank you for the question, Chandok sir. So a wonderful topic that you have chosen, and very apt for today's world when we are talking of chat GPT, etc. So liberal education is an approach, I believe, that promotes integration of learning across the curriculum and co-curriculum, and a connection between academic and experiential learning, and in order to develop specific learning outcomes that are essential for work, citizenship, and life. The mark of a genuinely liberal education, I feel, is that it aims at instilling a set of paradoxical qualities, which are often quite fiercely at odds with one another. Those qualities can be like a capacity to inquiry, and then capacity for conformity, that conformation to rules, theories, etc. So two very paradoxical things that we are talking about, and it is important because transversal is what we are looking at. We are looking at learning outcomes that will make a human resource which is productive, which is happy, and gives to the nation. So that's what liberal education would give us. According to J. Krishnamurti, it says education is freedom from conditioning. But were we doing that? We were conditioning them to just rote learning, writing, remember the formulas, etc. So the actual real education is what NEP also now talks of, that is creating lifelong learners. It's a VUCA world. We do not know what's going to happen next. Volatile, unpredictable, complex, ambiguous. So we have to prepare our students for that world where they are able to upskill themselves. They are versatile. It is volatile, so they have to be versatile. They have to upskill themselves regularly. So how will that come? If they have that resilience to get up every time they fall and learn from their mistakes and keep adding to their skills. So nowadays, I would say the student is caught between his own desire for freedom to do what he wants and what the society demands, that is conformity. And so that's what liberal education or liberal arts or liberal studies brings to them. That, and when you say what is the difference from vocational or technical education, it is a marked difference. Vocational or technical education is giving them a skill. Yes, I said they have to upskill themselves. That is a particular skill that the student would take. And when I talk of liberal education, it is also the life skills. It gives a 360-degree holistic, I would say, development for the child, for the student, for the that we have to see to it that the every human being is responsible citizen and productive. That's what I feel. And at a glance, when I say liberal education, it will give you in-depth study of chosen disciplines, differential approach to interdisciplinary learning, and transversal skill sets. So that is what is liberal education, and what I have researched. And I would just add one more thing, that I studied in a very small, I come from a very small place, Khetri Nagar in Rajasthan. And there also I studied in Kendriya Vidyalaya. So we were at that time liberal. पढ़ भी रहे थे, and we were participating in everything. We had the freedom, NCC, and all those things. I think that that is what also brings that openness of mind. So that is according to me. And we have Om sir here, who will tell us how wrong or how close I am to the answer. Yes, thank you. So much.
You are there only, ma'am, but he will elaborate actually what liberal education is. We had that type of education, but now with that technology, the liberal education has taken some other, way of getting, because when you are going to the outside world, so it's something different. I was just discussing in the last episode also that I had a chance to come to Delhi to one of the college in DU, and they called me up to have a session of the college students on youth empowerment. So one of the students told me that I got 99 point something percentile in my competitive exam. All the doors of all the colleges were open in India, but I wanted to do my higher studies in Germany. There, my admission was rejected. Why rejected? Because I did not have the knowledge of AI. Here we have AI, used to have AI from 11, 12, computer science. But now it has started from grade 1. Now, not in all the schools, in the A category schools only. So the thing, yes, ma'am. So the main thing is that when we are talking about any type of education, the child should be able to compete on national as well as international level. Then there is only the use of doing such type of education. So that thing has to become has to be in our mind. Thank you so much, ma'am, Charu ma'am. It was wonderful talking to you. Now we'll come up to Shikha ma'am. Now, Shikha ma'am, we will also like to know that what is liberal education according to you, and how it is different from vocational or technical education.
Thanks for the question, Chandokji. And like Charu ma'am said, that we are all probably in the process of understanding what liberal education is all about. So I'll begin by a definition which gave me a little understanding. It talks about the philosophy of liberal education being empowerment. It talks about a broad knowledge and transferable skills, focusing on the values, ethics, and civic engagement. From this, what I gather is it is not about the theoretical knowledge, it is about the skill development as well. NEP 2020 talks about skill development right from the middle school, getting them a feel to understand what they would like to pursue, what they can, And the range that a liberal education platform is supposed to provide, Mr. Dwivedi, I'm feeling a little conscious. I hope I'm saying the right things and not making you laugh inwardly.
No,
But this is
please.
my elementary knowledge, right? So what I understand is the broad spectrum that is offered to a student gives him the flexibility to explore, number one, decide if required, or shift when he feels he is not on the right track. So it is very, very important that all the areas of education somehow gradually gets converted into a liberal education platform, because it talks about multidisciplinary approach. That means the various disciplines coming, and interdisciplinary. And when we talk about education in today's scenario, we are always talking about integration coming together. So the various areas offered, bringing them together, interdepending on one of them, each of them, or categorizing or using them whichever way. Again, it seems we are supposed to have them in three categories: the majors, the minors, and the foundations. The majors and the foundations and the minors can be in sync with the major, and they may not be in the sync with the majors also, giving again a broader spectrum and area of interest for the students to develop their skills, understanding, knowledge, and further their career options also. Thank you.
That's wonderful, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now we will come up to Bhavna, ma'am. Bhavna, ma'am, we will like to know your views that how does a liberal education prepare students for their future careers, even if doesn't provide specific job training? Had been, now it is. Bhavna, ma'am.
Yeah, thanks. It's an important question, Chandokji. And my fellow co-panelists have just now explained about this. This is a story which started in the 19th century, but the John Henry Newman, Thomas Huxley, they started with this concept of liberal education. For me, I believe that if we talk about liberal education, broadens a child's preview of thinking. So, meaning a child is able to develop understanding, problem solving skills, which we are right now we are instilling. And after the NEP and now the NCF is there around the corner, and we all have been groomed, and we have planned such a way that 23-24 we will apply that. So these are things which we have started with right now. And with everything on the verge of automation, we will require people who can think, because now machines can think. So you see this, why there is a very hue and cry about ChatGPT you just mentioned. The reason behind it is that earlier machines were required to take help of us, but now they have their own mind. Even whatever ML or whatever concept, I don't go into that nitty-gritty, but they have their mind, they can improve themselves, they have the data, they can be a very good singer also. It is not like that they are not competent for. So the thing is this, now we need to have that, build that skill. So a liberal education will enable a child to think in multiple directions. That's what I believe I started. Multitasking is required, multiple direction. We used to hear when we were young, when we were old, beta, you have to be master of jack of all and master of none. This is what is no, we can quote here. So specific job training will no longer be mandate of education, and preparing the child of any and every task with the help of tools and technology is what will matter. Because if the thing is this, right now the technology is changing so fast, if we will not instill, if we will not prepare our child for 2032, and if we don't have the vision for that reason, then it will be very difficult for them to survive. We are already done. We are grown up enough. So for them, we need to think about at that level that how to prepare them for 2032. So this is the idea. I believe this is what I have understood. So liberal education, being giving them the different zones to explore. Okay, go and venture, go and this. See, this is there is a Kidzania. Have you ever seen? So they provide such kind of a atmosphere that you go and experience. Be a pilot, be a pizza maker, do what you want to be. I believe I'm right, Om sir. So and I hope I've answered your question. Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. You are very near to it, but exactly, I also do not know what actually liberal education is. So we are coming directly to Om sir right now. Om sir, as you know that we have a lot of confusion about liberal education. So the main thing, first of all, we like to know from you is what is liberal education and what is its importance in on school level and then college level.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. So first of all, I would like to add that, I mean, this was a concern raised by Sikha ma'am and I guess Bhavna ma'am, if I am right, about being right or wrong. I was taught this thing in during my, when I joined the university as an assistant professor by my mentor, that he always used to tell me one thing, that Dr. Dwivedi, remember this thing, that there cannot be any right answer to anything, right? Answers will keep on changing with the evolution of time, but questions will remain. So civilizations will come and they will keep responding to the same question again and again in a different and in an innovative way. So rest assured that I also am on the same platform as you are, right? So there cannot be any definitive answer. Talking about liberal education, first of all, there are different terms that are used: liberal education, liberal studies, and liberal arts. Amongst these terms, liberal arts is the most commonly used term. Because liberal education, when we use liberal education, it tends to dilute the very purpose of the education, because liberal in itself means, it comes from the word liber, right? The Greek word liber, which means freedom, producing free men. So the idea of liberal education, it has a long history, and it goes as far back as 4th century. It started in the Greek civilization, and they had this idea of liberal arts, and that idea was the figuration of two different components. One was the trivium and the other one was the quadrium. The trivium consisted of three subsects. One was the grammar, then the rhetoric, and followed by logic. So grammar, rhetoric, logic constitute the trivium, whereas the quadrium was consisted of arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy. So you could see how beautifully they have aligned language on one side with the sciences on the other hand. So sciences and languages, they are in conversation with each other. So that was their idea of liberal arts education, and to carry it forward, Plato, who was one of the greatest philosopher of the Greek period, he had opened an academy known by the name of Lyceum. And he described these words on the board of Lyceum, that let no one enter this academy who does not understand geometry. So you can understand the kind of interconnectedness or multidisciplinarity that were advancing as early as the 4th century. And no wonder these scholars, these thinkers like Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, and many others for that matter, they were scholars who were expert in different disciplines. They knew biology, they knew geography, they knew physics, they knew literature, they knew philosophy, they knew maths, right? So they were conversant in all these different disciplines, although they were seemingly very different to each other. Then this same liberal arts philosophy can also be found in our ancient Indian tradition, particularly in the Gurukul Padvati, the Gurukul model of education that we had. And that Gurukul model of education was primarily focused on cultivating the life skills. We are talking of life skills in 21st century, but imagine how visionary our ancestors were, that they were using, not just using, but teaching these life skills in the 4th, 5th centuries, which sadly had been lost because of the advent of technology and other things for that matter. Now, both this Greek civilization and the Indian civilization, they emphasize two things. One is the critical thinking, and the other one, that critical thinking has to be linked with life skills. When I say critical thinking, or for that matter, when anyone uses the term critical thinking, it basically covers 4 important aspects of human existence. One is listening, second is seeing, third one is thinking, and of course, the last one, culminating in doing your actions, right? So as the time developed, the idea and the practice of liberal education was diluted, and even lost for that matter. And then it was again recovered in the 19th century when US was going through civil wars, right? But it didn't materialize, it didn't succeed at that point in time. Liberal arts again became very important, came to the center of our education system. In the last leg of 20th century, particularly 1990s onwards. And that has to do with the opening up of globalization, the opening up of the world market. So when the market opened, a new kind of economy was in front of us. And to talk to this economy, to be conversant with this kind of a new economy that was right in front of us, we needed a new education model. A new education model which can prepare our youths to get aware of what is happening and what are the changes that we can incorporate in order to be future ready, right? That the term multitasking that was used by one of our fellow panelists. So since 1990s, the idea of liberal arts education picked up. And coming into this 21st century, it grew like anything. So we had so many universities coming up, Flame, Kriya, Ashoka, O.P. Jindal, Bennett, Shiv Nadar, although it doesn't do liberal arts in that context. But we had a whole gamut of institutions coming up and offering this liberal arts education. So liberal arts education primarily is a multidisciplinary education model, where the idea is not just to, I'm talking about the importance, to coming to your second question that you asked, where the idea is not just the accumulation of knowledge, but, or the upskilling of knowledge, but also the way in which, to use Shikha ma'am's term, how these different knowledge can be transferred into practice, right? The transferable skills. So it is not just the accumulation, but also the way you can synergize these different disciplines. For example, I'm a student of English literature, so I will speak from my literature point of view. The stories are all very, very important in our lives. All of us sitting here have some or the other stories to tell. In fact, we are all stories for that matter. And we need to have stories to encourage someone, to motivate someone, and also we need stories to sell our products in the market. So stories it has a pervasive importance in all aspects of our life. Wherever you go, you cannot survive without without stories. That's why human beings are so important storytellers. So storytelling is a very important art. So when I teach literature with giving them examples of leadership. So I'm not just teaching literature, I'm teaching them also, I'm also transferring them skills of leadership models. And for that matter, if I talk from the position of a psychologist, you cannot do good psychology if you don't understand society. So psychology has to respond to society, to sociology that is going on in front, because your mental level, ultimately, it is a product of society, the surrounding that you are living in. So you have to understand those contexts. So liberal arts, it is quite pertinent in the way that it makes you brings or connect the dots. And that is only possible when you see how these different disciplines are interconnected. All human lives, that is one of the things that schools must do. Since you asked a question, what should schools be emphasizing and cultivating in students? The schools must emphasize on this on this model of interconnectedness. Human lives are interconnected. We cannot survive alone. You remove all human beings and my life will become meaningless, right? For that matter, even if you don't remove humans, you remove other species like animals, and we will die, we will collapse. You know, one single microorganism like plankton, which is at the base level of the ocean, the day plankton dies, the entire environment of our surrounding will collapse, because plankton is the more microorganism which balances the oxygen level in the environment. Within our own body, we have viruses or bacteria that are very important to digest our food, right? So you can see that our human body, our existence is interconnected for that matter. We are all interconnected. We are dependent for our survival on different things. Let me give you a very interesting anecdote, if you allow me, from, I hope I have time, Chandok ji.
Yes, sir, please, please.
So there is an interesting anecdote which I immediately recall from the Indian text Vishnu Dharma Uttar Puran. And it goes like this. It's a great example of the interconnectedness and also the multidisciplinary education model. So there was the king Vajra who wanted to learn the art of idol making. And King Vajra went to the sage Markandeya, and he requests Markandeya that please teach me the art of idol making. So Markandeya politely tells Vajra that you cannot learn idol making unless you learn painting. So you first go and learn painting. So Markandeya then goes to another teacher and says, please teach me painting. So he was told that you cannot learn painting unless you know dance. So then he goes to learn in search of a teacher who could teach him dance. So when he finds this teacher, he was told that you cannot learn dance unless you know instrumental music, right? Because you have to know the rhythm, right? The movement of your body. So he finds a teacher and he goes there and he says that, please teach me instrumental music. He was immediately told that you cannot learn instrumental music unless you know vocal music. So you can see how beautifully all disciplines are interconnected to each other, right? In the same way, if you do not know talking again about the importance of liberal arts education, if you don't know the way to handle this AIs that we are facing and the technology, the rapid evolution of technology, then technology itself can convert into a monster. I'm not sure how many of you have read this novel by Shelley, Frankenstein. But in Frankenstein novel, the protagonist creates a monster to gain power. Ultimately, the monster takes over the protagonist and exercises his power. So there is a machine which is taking control over human beings because the human did not know how to control the machine or how to handle the machine. And what happens eventually is the death of the protagonist himself. So these are ways in which we need to make our students aware. AI is going to be very central in our learning system, not just in our learning system, but in all aspects of our life. Because wherever we are, we will be going in the future years, technology will be embedded in the heart of all our societal doings. So what we need to do is we need to have a kind of a system where we need to encourage and inculcate in students a kind of an understanding of the societal embeddings of technology, right? In the ways in which technology can not just need to be handled carefully and with a sense of responsibility, but also in which technology can be used in ways which are enabling, empowering, even liberating for that matter. You know, all these apps which we have, Ola, Uber, Zomato, Flipkart, Amazon, these are all meant to help and our human beings who cannot go there and who need some kind of a help at the tip of one hand, right? So that is one another aspect of the kind of education that needs to be promoted at school level. Then civic engagement, someone used the term civic engagement. It's a very important thing to be inculcated in our youth, because many of us, particularly those who come from a background where they have not been subjected to a condition which is not very favorable to life. I mean, there are in society, we have different kinds of people. But when we teach students in universities, we find that they are not aware of the different side, the darker side of life. And they are all very privileged, of course. So we need to make them aware of the other side, the other aspect of life, that is the darker aspect of life. And when we do that, only then we will be able to instill them with a sense of civic engagement, with a sense of empathy, with a sense of belongingness to society, teach them to live with the unlivable in that way. So this is all liberal arts. I mean, I can keep
wonderful,
on
sir, wonderful. Wonderful, sir. It was just looking like that we are in the Gurukul and we are having a lesson from you. It was wonderful listening to you. Because after listening so much, people can become boredom, but we were enjoying it. I hope everybody was enjoying it because we are unaware about all this. Yes, ma'am.
Chandhok sir, can you allow me to just say a few words in context
Sure,
to what Omji said just now?
Sure,
So
ma'am.
since Sanskrit happens to be my subject, I just want to put in this word that in the Vedic, for the Vedic scholars, the syllabus defined used to be Chaturdash Vidya. Chaturdash Vidya are the academic subjects of today, and all of them used to be there. And there used to be Chaturshashti Kala, 64 skills. So it was the Vidya and the Kala put together that prepared the student, but they were customized. Not all of them were for everyone. A king's son would learn something else, a warrior's son would be learning something else. But they were from this Chaturdash Vidya and Chaturshashti Kala. Am I right, Omji?
Yeah, there are 64 arts for that matter. Krishna was the master of 16 arts.
Chaturdash Vidya. All the subjects that we are taught today used to be there in the Vedic days also.
You're very right.
That's wonderful, sir. So we enjoyed whatever you were saying because it was just like you keep on speaking and keep on listening. And that very beautiful example you gave of that he wanted to know how to make up these statues, idol making sculptures. And he said you have to learn this. So why you have to go into liberal? This is the best example for liberal education. Why you have to go for all this? I mean, the concept has changed, jack of all, master of nothing, but you have to be jack of all. Why? Because they are interconnected with each other. How? The best example you gave, sir. Hats off to you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. We'll come up to the next round now and we'll come up to Charu ma'am now. Charu ma'am, now we'd like to know from you that how does technology impact liberal education and how might digital tools and platforms be used to enhance these goals?
Thank you so much. And yes, it was really heartening to hear Om sir. And I would start with quoting Steve Jobs because we are talking of technology and liberal arts together. And the best thing that he said is, it's in Apple DNA that technology alone is not enough. It's technology married with liberal arts, liberal studies, with the humanities that yield us the result that make our hearts sing. So that's what was his vision. So combining the arts with technology was the key to making Apple so successful. So here, when technology and liberal arts, and nowadays in IITs, etc., also we have subjects, though it is not liberal arts at all that ways, but they do bring in the art subjects. The students have to study those also, because we cannot be only machines. We have to learn how to stay in this society, very rightly said by Om sir. And talking about this Vedic vision, थोड़ा सा बीच में मन हो गया बोलने का कि decades, centuries ago, in the fourth, in Vedic values, we said that they knew that the human beings will be able to survive only if there is synergy there is a symbiotic relationship between abiotic and the biotic components of this environment. थोड़ा सा diversion हो गया आपके question से, लेकिन मेरे को बोलने का मन हो रहा था कि because when we do शांति पाठ, also we say द्यो शांति अंतरिक्षम, शांति पृथ्वी, सबकी शांति और को लेते हुए फिर हम आगे बढ़ते हैं. तो सबको इकट्ठा जब 360 degree लेते हैं, then only we can survive as human beings. Talking about the main question that you had thrown at me, that how liberal arts would be affected by, is affected by technology or vice versa. So when we talk of chat GPT, etc., I am reminded of that as Om sir was talking about this Finkelstein novel, I was being reminded of this movie Robot. बहुत पहले बच्चों के साथ हमने देखी थी, आपने भी देखी होगी शायद. रजनीकांत and Aishwarya Rai were there, and the similar thing was there, that the protagonist was taken over by the machine. My son is nowadays he's doing research in AI and machine learning at in Carnegie Mellon University, and the other day he was he sounded very worried. Said, I am really worried because I remember when I was in grade 6 or 7, I saw this movie Mama with You, and that time I thought कि ऐसा हो नहीं सकता. But now this is what is happening. And so machine learning से ज़्यादा अब हमें, मतलब he was speaking like this. He has already published 5 papers in his international journal, and he was speaking that now is the time that people should know how to have empathy. We have to teach empathy. Ma'am, Mama, are you teaching empathy to your students, to your kids? Are you teaching interpersonal skills? So research scholars in AI, scholar in MI and ML was speaking to me, and he was really worried about this. That are you teaching civic engagement, global citizenship to the students? How are you doing it? What kind of activities do you do in your school that students are able to learn this? So I said, yes, in our school, we do celebrate honesty and empathy also. Like rather than just giving prizes for academic achievements, we give them trophies if we have found a child who was so empathetic, who had good interpersonal skills. So we give trophies for them. So with technology, we have to see to it that liberal arts, liberal studies are wedded together. Then only we'll be able to survive. Otherwise, human race would be where all these जो कि हमने पुराने जो science fictions में whatever we have read in various novels, etc., it's all coming alive, isn't it? The corona, the chat GPT, the robo, everything is coming alive in front of us in this life that we have. So we have to see to it that we develop media literacy on a global scale, discover personal opinions behind global issues. That's what the children have to learn. Tap into global knowledge network and critical thinking, innovation thinking skills, interpersonal skills. These are to be taught to the students. Yeah.
That's wonderful, ma'am. You're absolutely right. Because the way the technology is improving, like your son said, at that time I saw the movie, I thought this cannot happen. But now nothing is impossible. Whatever you think about, it will happen. I had been working with the AI people also. They said, you have Alexa now. Alexa is old now. Now you just think. That is called brain waves. While I'll also share a video of that 2.5 minutes what they did. That they had the machine like a headphone they had put on their head, and he took hold of a bulb, and from his mind he set the bulb to blow. To glow. So when he did this, he blew the bulb, and he switched it off also from his thinking. This is what you call.
S.S.Chandhok, don't you feel that what we read in our mythological stories, like a person being transformed from one place to another? So E is equal to mc square that Einstein talks about, that energy and mass are interconvertible. So all this, I feel our rishis and all who wrote all those things, they were way ahead. And
Bilkul, absolutely right. Because we had that all that Vahan and all, everything was available. Yeah. You have seen Mahabharata and Ramayana.
Whether it was mythological or whatever,
you know that,
they thought.
Whatever they were throwing. Yeah, they had it all that missiles and everything, and that in nuclear powers, everything they had at that time also. The shape has changed, but the things are same which were thousands of years back also. Thank you so much, Charu ma'am. It will go into something else now. Let's come back to liberal education again. Shikha ma'am, we'll also like to know, because that's a very hot topic and we can talk throughout the day for that, but we have shortage of time. Ma'am, according to you, how does technology helps liberal education?
Technology now has become an integral part. We can do nothing about it. The point is making use of technology in a positive manner, trying to arrest the areas of challenge, etc. During my introduction, I told you, Mr. Chandhok, that my group has introduced socio-emotional learning for the children. Socio-emotional learning has 5 components. It talks about self-awareness, self-management, social skills, decision making, and there's one more component, I'm forgetting that. But these 4 I'll talk to you about here when we talk about social relationship and decision making. It is very important to bring that component in their curriculum, and we interweave it with the regular studies of the school. The purpose is that the child must understand that the human connect or the humane part of a human being is much more essential, right? So we definitely try to bring in this, and technology in its own way will be with us, but we have to know where to draw a line. The children have to be taught where to draw a line, and in that process, if we go back to Bloom's taxonomy talks about the 3 domains: the cognitive domain, the affective domain, and the psychomotor domain. The psychomotor domain is about doing whatever, and the aesthetic domain is about the heart. So the learning part of it, your cognitive domain has to be connected to your aesthetic domain, where your heart, this music, art, all these things kindle your heart and gets the feeling in you for anything. Aesthetics, very strong, which is a requirement today, that we do make sure that our children have some hobbies, some sort of extracurricular things that they can appreciate and participate in, so that when it comes to the psychomotor domain, they are not causing damage to the society. Right? So technology, as we all know, there are n number of examples that will show us that technology can pose a very serious threat in our lives, whether we talk about hacking things out of the bank or whatever. There are so many areas where the financial benefits being high, people move away from the moral standard. The emotional quotient is in a decline. That is the reason probably that today, more than seeing the intelligence quotient, we look at the emotional quotient of a person. And in schools, definitely we expect the teachers to be very empathetic, compassionate, and supportive, so that whatever negative sort of comes into a child gets nullified gradually. And what we ultimately make them into, they become the savers of the society, again, the protectors of the people, and the country and the society benefits from their emotional growth.
Wonderful, ma'am. Thank you so much. And one thing is coming out, I just forget to say about this is, now the new concept has come, jack of all if you want to become master of something. So you have to be jack of all. Om sir, again, permission is needed from you, sir. We can say that you have to be jack of all if you want to become a master of one thing. So that has come out of liberal education today. We'll come up to ma'am now, Bhavna ma'am. Bhavna ma'am, we'd like to know how might liberal education be adopted to better serve the needs and aspirations of diverse students, population, especially in the 21st century.
Thank you for asking such an important question, sir. But I would like to add here what I've heard from my co-panelists. As we all know that the world is heading, and I already shared with you, here what we need to do is that we need to tell them what is right and wrong. That is the value education which we have to put in, because technology, even the, as Charu ma'am has rightly said, now even Elon Musk has signed the petition which is saying that now we need to stop researching on further giving the right to the machines. So now this is the position where everybody, all these top-notch researchers, everybody, they are now thinking on this terms that we need to now stop researching on this and giving this as an advantage. Technology is always there to assist human, but if you will not use technology as a tool, then it will, and this is what is happening. This is what we all as a leader are struggling. Every time we are giving the lessons to the parents that and the students that just you can use mobile but to a limited extent. So now the thing is that we need to have the detoxification from these so that the body detoxification is not required, not the this mobile detoxification, this is required. Now coming on to your question, I would like to answer that with the click of a button, information is made available to a child, and we all know it, we all aware of it. So what the information overload era, because this is the era, this is the revolution which I say information revolution. Industrial revolution gone, social revolution gone, so this is information revolution, when everything is available at the click of a button. So what the information overload era will not be able to impart easily is emotional intelligence. This is what ma'am has just said. So we need to build that. A liberal education can do that. The 21st century student population requires a course that is more sensitized. And that is what ma'am has said, that 6Q, that is also we follow. We have to develop 6Q, and where is socio-economic skills, socio-emotional skills, all these are very important. So a course that is more sensitized, inclusive and open. Liberal education brings multiple perspective and opinions. It talks about inclusivity, acknowledging diversity, and even bringing solution to the table. So all of these things are what the students are looking for, and these are the things which we need to build among our learners or our students, so that they can be better placed tomorrow, because they
Right.
have to earn for their livelihood. So otherwise else, I could visualize that the human is just planting and working in a field, and machine is doing everything.
Right, absolutely right. Right. Thank you so much, Bhavna ma'am. And I was just thinking that an EP also has come that there will be no streams in 11th and 12th. You can no art, no humanities, or sorry, no humanities, no commerce or science. So I think it is basically based on this liberal education only. So
Yeah.
we'll come up to Om sir now. Om sir, yes ma'am, sir ma'am.
Wanted to add here that in our school, humanities students are taking biology, and commerce students are taking psychology. A humanities student is taking business studies. So this kind of marrying between subjects is done. And when I interview the students, why do you wish to take this particular subject, this combination? They tell me that, ma'am, I wish to go into the field of fashion studies, and business studies will help me in this to set up my own entrepreneurial venture. So they
Yeah.
are looking at this, and yes, CBSE, that's why has dissolved all the boundaries of streams, like we used to say earlier, science and
Yes,
all.
ma'am.
So sorry
So
for barging.
that yes, ma'am, no problem, ma'am. And EPS result is for all the boards. Why? Because you see that A, B, C category schools we have. So A category schools, they mostly claim that most of the things in AP we are already using it. But we are talking about pan India. All the schools of the country will come into this. Then liberal education will get its pure meaning. So that is why today we have gathered here. And sir, as Charu ma'am said that we have a combinations of these subjects, and this will keep on moving and improving with the schools. There might be a lot of difficulties with the schools because they have to raise the teachers and infrastructure for all these things. So that will go on. But let us know about what are the career options, because at the end of the day, the parents say, okay, if you are taking these subjects, you're going for liberal arts or whatever courses in the higher studies after school. So what type of courses are available, sir? And what are the career options with these type of courses? That will be beneficial for understanding, sir.
First of all, I mean, in terms of courses offered, there cannot be any uniformity because different universities do liberal arts in different way. And I'm sorry to say that many universities, and I say this, of course, on record, that many universities are not even aware of what liberal arts education is all about. So they are practicing it in a very casual and cavalier manner, for that matter. As far as, but I can definitely talk about from the position of Bennett University. So we are offering them different majors, which of course is a combination of foundation, electives, and then leading to majors. So we offer 12 majors, and these majors span from psychology to finance to marketing to English literature to business studies to economics to political science to philosophy to journalism, then to filmmaking and advertising and PR. So these are the range of subjects that we are offering to our students. Now, coming to your second question, and that question relates to the job prospect. So to be very honest, and I'm sure that my fellow panelists, esteemed panelists will agree that any 3-year degree, or for that matter, any 4-year degree can not give you a job. You have to do some expertise, and for that you have to pursue your higher education. So what liberal arts does, and it is that it prepares a nice foundation. It builds a strong foundation, a foundation where you can be an expert to some degree, to transfer the skills that are needed to align, to marry different disciplines, to solve problems from different positions. That is the life skills. So liberal arts educations are primarily meant to enhance and cultivate your life skills. And these life skills are going to become more useful and handy in the years to come, particularly when we see this boom of the unchecked boom of digital technology. I mean, we have my fellow panelist was mentioning Elon Musk, referring to this, that we must stop doing research. But let me just add that Elon Musk cannot do anything for the simple reason that there are various researches going on in different parts of the universities in different corners of the world, where there are researches being carried on in trying to overcome death itself. So at Stanford, at MIT, there are professors who have somehow reached very close to do away with this very idea of death. And they have already cloned a 60-year-old woman and made her young by another 15 years. Right? And now they are working towards this idea of defeating the death. So human mind, it's all consciousness. It can go on doing things which are not just prohibited, unimaginable, but also can be very dangerous for all of us. When we were talking about technology and the liberal arts education. Let me just add one more thing. The very idea of just giving you another example of how dangerous imagination can be. The very idea of nuclear weapon, so destructive, can have an impact that is not just meant for one generation, but generations after generations. The very idea of nuclear weapon, it came from H.G. Wells' short story, The World Set Free, which was published in the year 1914, where he had given a description of a kind of a bomb which is very powerful. And when it is exploded, it changes the entire course of the landscape, makes it uninhabitable. And then this appealed to the American scientists. And they started working on this idea, and then this nuclear weapon came into existence. So what we need to do is we need to come up with ways to cultivate our students a sense of responsibility and the importance of having harmony. Like the flute has different holes on it. But one must be aware, one must have practice to tab on the holes in a way that it produces music and not produce some kind of a distraction, which can be harmful or distractive for the ears. So that is the kind of synergy that we need to incorporate in our education model, the education model that is liberal arts. And so it is not meant primarily for job creation, but it is meant to provide those life skills which will sustain any learner throughout his or her life, because changes will keep on happening. No one can stop it. The only thing that is going to remain intact are the life skills. Right. So how do you cultivate those life skills? How do you transfer those life skills into practice? That will be the art, and that arts will be provided by liberal arts education.
That's wonderful, sir. It's a pleasure listening to you again and again, sir. Thank you so much, sir. The main thing is that if you want to reach somewhere, so the middle step is that you need to have these type of courses so that you may reach your destination. And for that purpose, sir, it's a request to you that you should take sessions with the students in the schools and colleges also. And if the people are near your cities, you should allow the students to come for the visit, school, college visits or industrial visit, whatever you say. Because practically when they go and understand the things, because we had been talking earlier in the sessions also, that the students go for the career options on the saying of their friends or the relatives. So when they will come into all these things, they will see that practically the things, they will able to make their own wise choice that what is right and what is wrong for them. So two things I request, that online or offline, if the schools are near your university, like where Charu ma'am has and Bhavna ma'am also has. Otherwise, the schools who are, or you can make up a program in which you can give us an option for this, that we will give an online, this type of counseling to the students all over the country or which are not near your city. So that they should know that what is actually this liberal education. Lot of things has to be understood by this, because nobody is knowing about liberal education as of now. We have taken a lot of takeaways today with the liberal education. For sure, it has become very helpful for us. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Chandok.
Sir, one point from my side. Chandok sir said students, that's absolutely fine, but I think the teachers also need to be guided about the utility and the probabilities and the expansion of what liberal art can promise.
Absolutely right, ma'am. Absolutely right. So you can have the sessions with the schools where the teachers as well as the students, they can have this learning, but actually liberal education is. And also, ma'am, Bhavna ma'am, Shikha ma'am, and Charu ma'am, Suchitra ma'am also joined. Ma'am, we had also discussion that the career counseling should start from earlier side. It should start from 6th grade onwards, not in 11, 12. By the time the child has opted for the stream, there is no use of giving him, it's a halfway giving him the career counseling. It should be given much before that, from 6th, 7th class onwards, so that the child may make up his mind what actually he or she has to do.
What needs to be given in the middle school, 6, 7, 8 classes is the counseling of parents more than the students.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and we do so. It is required. Yeah. Otherwise, else they keep on just transferring their dreams. I had a orientation today, parent orientation. Tomorrow we are starting with a session. So they transfer their dreams to their kids. That was my dream. So this is what is actually happening. So this
actually, the only thing is there are two options for the parents, especially for the middle class. They have two options, either doctor or engineer. There is no third way of making up your career. So this myth has to be removed from the parents, because now the time will come when humanities, of course, we won't have any stream, but students will go more for humanities, for the art side, then for commerce, and the less for the sciences. It will happen now, for sure.
No,
so
I think
it has already started. In my school, the toppers take humanities combination.
Yes. Ma'am, but I'll beg your pardon. I'm just talking about the schools all over the country.
True.
A-graded schools have already doing most of the things which are in NEP, like your school like Shikha ma'am school and the Bhavna ma'am school also.
My last 2 years national toppers are from humanities.
Right. See, so this awareness bringing up in the city like Alphonse, it's a big thing, because when you are in Delhi NCR or Pune, Bangalore, it is very easy. But when you're coming into these type of cities, you have to make understand about the values, or what are the gains, what are you going to learn when you're going to humanities. Chuditra ma'am was late. Yes, ma'am.
Tier 2, Tier 3 cities, actually they have their own struggles. So they're still moving towards that, but still they need time to reach.
Ma'am,
Is this that to have educators sessions for that reason.
Especially
if
in the places.
Are empowered,
Ma'am, in the yes, ma'am. When you have first, generation learners, मिश्रा जी के बेटे को तो 100 तक काउंटिंग आती है, हमारे बच्चे को भी 50 तक आती है. So that's a huge problem. They want to make the child doctor or engineer at the very same pre-primary class only. So that's a very big problem when you talk about the B and C category schools, ma'am, for sure. That's what wonderful, and it was a good discussion. I think today we had about liberal education, and as you know, at the end of the session we have me time. Sir, at the end of the session we have me time, because this show is of the principals, by the principals, and for the principals. So last 5 to 10 minutes we have me time, where everybody has to say something, has to sing or a poem or something like that, so that we may have a good vibes over here with a good discussion. Of course, I'll share the contact details also with each other. So why not start up with today with Shikha ma'am. Ma'am, the last song, it is still in my ears. Ekla Chalo Re.
Was it a song? I don't even
Ekla
remember.
Chalo Re, Rabindranath, Ekla Chalo Re. It is still in my ears, ma'am.
Okay. So let me narrate a shairi today, which
Sure,
I keep on telling my students off and on. खुद
Sure,
ही को कर इतना बुलंद कि हर तकदीर लिखने से पहले खुदा बंदे से पूछे बता तेरी रजा क्या है. That's what liberal art is all about.
Wonderful, ma'am. Wonderful, ma'am.
Very
well
nice.
quoted, ma'am. Well quoted, ma'am. How do you get this power energy, ma'am? I will come to you and for a cup of tea, and I'll get myself recharged from you.
You have promised and you didn't turn up. Mr. Chandhok, you have promised and you didn't turn up.
Ma'am, I'll sure come, ma'am. I'll sure come. My pleasure, because I'm not very far away. My school is not very far away from your school.
So you must come, sir. You must come.
I will surely come, ma'am. I'll give you a phone call when you are, if you'll be available, I'll for sure come, ma'am, and have a cup of tea and charging or recharging also for myself. Whenever I feel low, I'll just come up to you and get recharged, ma'am.
Sure.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So Charu, did you got any inspiration from ma'am? So you must come up with a song or whatever you want to, a poem or anything, ma'am.
Song.
Yes, ma'am.
Actually, liberal arts पे है ना आज, तो चाहे हम टेक्नोलॉजी बच्चे को पढ़ाएं, अभी एकदम से अभी दिमाग में आ गया, तो इसका मतलब मेरा कनेक्टिंग द डॉट्स अच्छा काम करता है. तो उसमें कि चाहे बच्चा टेक्नोलॉजी पढ़े, लेकिन फिर भी वो नेचर को देख सके. उसी पे मुझे याद आ गया एक गाना. ये कौन चित्रकार है, ये कौन चित्रकार, ये आवाज ये किस कवि की कल्पना, ये किस कवि की कल्पना का चमत्कार है, ये कौन चित्रकार है, कौन चित्रकार. थैंक यू.
That's wonderful, ma'am. ये प्रभु है सर, ये प्रभु है जिनकी चित्रकारी है, and we all are over here.
इनके ग्रेटिट्यूड में नमन करते रहें और दूसरों के साथ मिलजुल के चलते रहें.
We had been discussing that every parent comes and asks, okay, what type of facilities you have, but what type of values and empathy do you teach? Nobody asked this. So this has to be integrated among the parents, that please ask about empathy and values. Don't talk about the facilities. It is everywhere now. That's wonderful, ma'am. Charu ma'am, you have a wonderful voice, ma'am. Bhavna ma'am, of course you're all-rounder, ma'am. आप तो हर समय लिखती रहती, कुछ ना कुछ सुना डालती, नया बनाया हुआ, fresh.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to share one thing. We talk about right now design thinking, tinkering lab is there. So everything with when we ideate and we process. So design thinking, the crux of design thinking is empathy only. You have to design the process, you have to follow the system, but the main crux is empathy. So we need to start with it. And I believe right now I'll share. What I believe is the reflection. This is the reflection theory which I believe, and I always quote that संभाल के खर्च करती हूँ खुद को दिन भर, क्योंकि हर शाम एक आईना मेरा हिसाब करता है. So reflection is very much required, and प्रभु की भक्ति में I will just sing a line here. This is what is very close to me, and we need to pay homage to Almighty every time, because He is the one who is a survivor, who help us to survive actually. So, तुम मेरी राखो लाज हरी, तुम मेरी राखो लाज हरी, तुम जानत सब अंतर्यामी, तुम जानत सब अंतर्यामी, करनी कछु ना करी, तुम मेरी राखो लाज हरी. This is vyatha of everybody. At one point of time, we feel like कि प्रभु बाप ही हो. That so, and He know everything.
Absolutely right, ma'am. Without him, nothing can happen. Nothing can happen. So, Om sir, now it is your turn, sir.
Yeah, so I will just contextualize in related to what you were talking about, the parents pressurizing the kids regarding their choice, and also we'll add to what Bhavna ma'am, if I'm right, Bhavna ma'am, right? Yes, he's used the term aina, right? So this is from Ghalib, and Ghalib says that umr bhar Ghalib yahi galti karta raha, धूल चेहरे पे थी और आईना साफ करता रहा.
True.
Wow.
So that's what the parents do not realize, that after another 5 to 7 years, at the extent 10 years, all these jobs that are in market, they will no longer exist. They will be redundant. So what will remain is the life are the life skills. And that's why it's very important to cultivate and practice those life skills.
Absolutely right, sir. Wonderful, sir. धूल मुंह पे थी, चेहरे पे थी और आईना साफ करता रहा. वाह वाह, मजा आ गया, sir. You are wonderful, sir. You are all rounder, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
It was wonderful. It was wonderful evening today. I hope we all had a very good time and a very good session today.
We had a
Thank
very
you,
good
Shikha.
time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Shikha ma'am,
Coming
Charu
from you,
ma'am.
Chandhok, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Besides designing the whole thing, what's coming from you at the
Yes,
end of the
for
session?
bringing us all together.
Yes.
He's the
So
Sutradhar.
I can say that because we are talking about, we are becoming a little spiritual. That song came into our mind that when we are in trouble, what do we say? Teri hai zameen, tera आसमां, तू बड़ा मेहरबान, तू बख्शिश कर, सभी का है तू, सभी तेरे, खुदा मेरे, तू बख्शिश कर. So we need his blessings all the time. Every second fraction of second we need his blessing. वो कहते हैं पत्ता भी नहीं हिल सकता उसकी मर्जी के बिना. So that is what we have to remember. Thank you. I have a very, very wonderful time today, and I hope you all had. Thank you, Shikha ma'am, Charu ma'am, Bhavna ma'am, and Om sir. It was a pleasure having you. Hope to tune in another season, another session very soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.